So much of the self-help world has got it wrong. We are literally told that if you just believe in yourself enough, or you make a vision board, or you set enough goals for yourself, that you can change your life. It's not totally wrong, but it's also a sliver of the picture. Oh, and we're also told mind over matter, right? This whole entire process requires us to go a lot deeper than just our conscious thoughts. Rather, there's a deeper question that we need to start asking ourselves. And that is, what is my life built on? So if you have been struggling to either achieve certain goals in your life, move into a more independent way of being, or get on a more authentic path, it might be because your foundation underneath all of it is unstable. So today we're going to talk about what the foundation even is as defined by the 5-domain system, what it looks like when it is collapsed or unstable or stabilizing, and we'll also talk about why it's so important to have a stable foundation in order for us to live fulfilling, authentic, sovereign lives. If you haven't seen my 5-domain system video, check it out. I'll link it in the description box below. And it gives context to what the foundation domain is in the greater scheme of things. The foundation is functionally kind of like the foundation or the pillars of a house. Your foundation is determining right now in this moment what you can hold, how much expansion, how much growth your system can hold reliably. Your foundation accounts for your environment, both inner and outer, your nervous system stability, your baseline stability, your recovery capacity when something destabilizing happens. And it's not just a matter of like, am I calm or do I meditate? It's, can my life hold consistency, change, and structure without collapsing or destabilizing? We think we're lacking discipline, or we're lazy, or just something's wrong with us or something. But the real issue is like foundational, structural capacity. Do I actually have anything solid to build on? There are 2 forms of unstable foundation. There's obvious instability, which would be like you don't have anywhere safe to go home to. Maybe no rhythm in your life. Every single day you're constantly trying to put out different fires. You don't have a routine, something to signal predictability and safety to your nervous system. And this creates kind of a chronic sense of overwhelm and no ability to recover. And then we have conditional stability. And this is what so many people's lives are built on, and they don't even realize it. Life looks incredibly stable from the outside. You might live in a beautiful apartment and things look good materially, but the price that you pay for this life is that you have to perform, overgive, play a game, and stay small. Essentially, you're selling identity in exchange for that life. So it's sort of like stable shelter, unstable selfhood. Independence on paper, dependency underneath. So I have a few examples. When I was living in San Diego, actually all of my apartments were technically independent, right? I was living alone. It was a life that was funded conditionally upon me showing up as a certain version of myself to maintain this role in these companies. Then we have my parents' house, which was physically dependent, but it depended on continuing to perform an emotional role, to respond and react in the same familiar ways that I always had. For me and my family, in particular my mom, that looked like cycles of intense closeness and attachment to then phases of rupture. Even though it created a lot of drama, that sort of was how the family functioned, how we had related to each other all these years, and how my mom knows how to relate to me. So when I stopped playing that role, it's like, get out. And then I was at a work exchange. This was a survival-based barter system. And safety, for me, in that environment, required tolerating measurable, tangible financial imbalance, value imbalance. All 3 different scenarios, different costumes, if you will, but they all have the exact same pattern underneath. And that is, if you play by the rules that you didn't write and that you're not in control of, then you get to, drink the Kool-Aid, I guess you could say. And that's not neutral foundation. It's conditional belonging. It is a foundation that can only support, that is built only to support merging, enmeshment, and adaptation. So figure out what it is that your environment and your life requires of you. Where you are going to sleep every night, where you are doing all your daily routines is your container. It is where you are going to build from. And that's what you need to get clear. Is my foundation sovereign? If not, what is it relying on right now? And just become aware of where that dependency is and where that compensation is. Even if you are on an unstable foundation, you need to find that stability in yourself. It's like creating structure in your life, daily routines and rituals, sacred rituals that we set for ourselves. For example, I was telling a client, my sovereign structure when I was still in dependency, every single morning I needed to work out, doing everything I could to structure my schedule around that, because that was the one bit of agency that I had and it was mine. But what I need you to remember is that less is more. When we're stabilizing our foundation, we're not looking to expand. We're not looking to grow. We're not looking to add new to our life. We are actually looking to consolidate. Where are we standing right now and bringing ourselves back into the moment, coming back into the now and finding anchors in our lives and creating, if anything, maybe 1 to 3 small achievable rituals that we can keep coming back to that are ours. What we want to do is not overhaul anything. We don't want to make any big moves right now. We want to reduce pressure. We want to reduce input, slow things down, narrow the scope, and create rhythm for ourselves. Rhythm that is internally driven. The rest of our day may be following someone else's rhythm or adapting to a work schedule or whatever that's totally out of your control. But if you can carve out and routinely show up for yourself at a certain point in the day, that's your time, that's your rhythm, that's sovereignty. And then of course, trying to remove or at least reduce as much as possible whatever in your life is destabilizing you. So when we stabilize our foundation, so much changes. We become so much clearer on what we need, on who we are, on what we care about. We are able to process our deeper emotions, our grief, move through heavy stuff more easily because we actually have a container to hold. Decisions feel clearer and cleaner. Reactivity often lowers. Energy becomes more available and reliable. Our output becomes more consistent. And again, your whole life is not going to automatically be solved, but this is where we need to begin in order to get to a place where setting affirmations or doing the manifestations and the vision board and all of that stuff is actually going to have a place to land and root and grow from. Every single time I do come back to this work, where I focus on my rhythms, my routines, bringing a sense of safety and stability to my life and making sure that where I'm building from is mine, the peace that it brings, it really does line everything up. And by the way, I forgot to say that after leaving the work exchange, I finally arrived at my new apartment in a new city, and this is my first ever sovereign foundation. My life here depends on nothing but myself. Of course, I'm going to have to work for this space, right? I'm probably going to need to walk dogs, maybe even get a job at a cafe, but ultimately, I don't need to trade my identity or perform to secure my housing. I can show up as my full self. I can find work that gives me that opportunity, that freedom, so that I can continue to build a life that is an actual expression of who I really am rather than who I have to become in order to find safety and belonging in my life. Remember that there is a difference between growth and the ability to actually hold it. And you do not need to fix your whole life first. You do not need to figure anything else out. Start with your base, stabilize what holds you, and build from there. And by the way, if this is something you're interested in exploring more deeply, I've dropped the links of a couple resources for you below in the description box. The first being the 5-domain system framework. It comes with a self-scoring assessment as well as a more than 30-page guide that walks you through the entire framework. It explains your scores and it gives you really practical advice on how to move through this system. And then I've also dropped the link for clarity calls as well, and that's where I use the framework and I provide real-time application to kind of analyze your situation and create a plan for you going forward. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will talk to you soon.